Alright, guys, how are you guys? The last time we met, we spoke about living habitat. We said some things about living habitats. We talked about habitats. We defined habitat as a natural place where living organism lives. We mentioned the types of habitat: the aquatic habitat, terrestrial habitat, the arboreal. And we said anything aqua means water. We said anything terra means ground. And we talk about the arboreal habitats, the monkeys and the likes. So today we'll be looking at adaptations of living things in their habitat. And we said we have three types of habitat. We have the aquatic, the terrestrial, and the arboreal. So we'll be looking at the terrestrial, the way living organisms they adapt to their habitat, or they adapt in their habitat. So now, firstly, adaptation. What is adaptation? Adaptation is the special feature found in living organisms that enables it to live and survive in its environment. So when you're talking about adapt, so adapt means to that thing that makes you, that enables you to live and survive in a particular environment. So like we human beings now, fishes now cannot adapt to the land. Do you get? Meaning they can't survive on land, so they can adapt. So that adaptation, that particular feature called adaptation is not um cannot make them to actually adapt to the terrestrial habitat. They can adapt to the aquatic habitat. They can survive, they can live. That's adaptation. So this feature helps it to get food easily and get used to the environment inhabit. So now different animals in different habitats have different adaptations. So different animals have different adaptations. We human beings, our adaptation is quite different. It's very different from, and it's very different from the fishes. So this variation in adaptive features makes it impossible for an animal in one habitat to survive in another. So any animal that cannot adapt to its immediate environment will either move out of the habitat or die. So any animal that cannot, like we always say, we are higher animals. So we can't survive inside water. No human being can live inside water except for the mermaids and the likes. So but naturally no human beings can survive inside water. So what that particular place is telling you that any animals that cannot adapt to its immediate environment will either move out of the habitat or die. So since we know we can't adapt in water, it's either we move out of the water. That's why you see us after swimming, after a very long time swimming and doing one or two things, we'll have to come out because we can't adapt. If we stay there much longer, it's going to be death. So for example, a lion cannot live in water, just like what I was saying now. A lion cannot live in water while a fish cannot survive on land. So they can't that means a lion cannot adapt in an aquatic environment, while a fish also cannot adapt on on the land actually. So this is because each of them possess an adaptive feature that makes them to be able to survive in that habitat. So now we'll be looking at I'm sorry, this thing is meant to show much larger than this. I'm sorry. So now the next one is talking about adaptive features of terrestrial animals. So we want to know the adaptive features of terrestrial animals, what they possess, what terrestrial animals possess for them to be able to live on land. So number one, possession of legs for movement from one place to another to search for food and run away. So one of the adaptive feature of a terrestrial animal is that they have legs for movement. Another one is that they possess lungs for respiration. Insects do not have lungs, but they respire with the aid of what? Spiracles. So another feature is that animals that live on land, they possess lungs for respiration because they breathe. Every animal, both we human beings and insects and anything surviving on land, they possess all these things. Another thing a terrestrial animal we have or has is a possession of an outer protective covering, such as fur, feather, or skin. Like human beings now, we have skin. Animals they have fur. Like birds now, they have feathers. like that, no, like chicken now they have feathers and the likes. Another thing that a terrestrial animal will likely possess is sense organ that makes them notice food or danger around them. So most of us have sense organ. We have five senses, but we have five mode of sensing things using the ear, the eyes, and the blah 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 and sort of. So terrestrial animals possess sense organs that make them to notice or food or danger around. So another one is the possession of mucor in the nose to remove dust and dirt during respiration. So same as human being too, sometimes mucor have to come out. We have mucor in our nose sometimes as a result of dust and dirt during respiration. Another adaptive feature is that desert animals such as camel can store water in its body tissue for use and prevent water loss through its thick leathery skin. So that's for camel. They can store water. Just like the way we human beings do. We can, when we eat, we store up food inside of us and we use it to work. We dissipate energy when we do work. So another thing is that reptiles such as crocodile has thick, scaly and waterproof skin to prevent moisture loss. It exchanges gases with the aid of lungs, unlike amphibians. So what this one is just trying to tell us that reptiles actually they have thick and scaly and waterproof skin to prevent moisture loss. Sorry. So they're telling us that reptiles, actually when we're talking about reptiles, we're talking about snakes, we're talking about crocodiles and stuff like that. Those are reptiles. So they are telling us that they exchange gas with the aid of lungs, unlike amphibians. Amphibians are frogs, toads. But the difference is that it lays its egg on land and then takes its baby to water after hatching. That's most of the time reptiles like crocodile, they tend to lay their egg on land and then they take their babies inside the water for hatching. So both amphibians and reptiles are cold-blooded animals. They are cold-blooded animals. So that's for the animals. Terrestrial. Those are the things. Those are the adaptive feature of a terrestrial animal. But now let's look at the adaptive feature of a terrestrial plant. You know what plant possesses now? It's just trying. This adaptive feature are just telling us what you can find in someone or an animal that is living on land. That's just the simple thing. And now, so it's just like saying these adaptive features of terrestrial plants is just telling you what you can find in plants that are living on that grow on land. Actually, we have plants that grow in water and we also have plants that grow on land. So what we are going to see, number one is saying that the stem and branches, definitely they have roots. All these things now in plants. So we have another one is saying terrestrial plants have protective layers on the external surface to reduce water loss by transpiration. So they have protective layers, something that protect them on the external surface to reduce water loss. That's it, so that water will not be going out of plants. So they have something that protects it. So that's what it's trying to say for terrestrial plants. Another one is that desert animals. Now we're talking about desert plants. Desert plants such as cactus has thick leaves and stem to store water when it rains. It has reduced stem and leaf size to minimize water loss. As in, they transpire to, they undergo the process called transpiration to, which involves what reduced leaf and stem to minimize water loss. The minimizing of water loss actually. So another thing is that desert plants such as turpentine bush are only active at night when the weather is no longer hot. For it is easier for them to get water vapor from atmosphere. So all these ones they are just telling us different plants and the way and the way they behave. They are telling us desert plants. We are talking about some other desert plants. So but there's one plant called the turpentine bush. This kind of plant now is not always active they are not always active. They are only active at night. They are not active during the day. They are when they say something is active at night, they are called nocturnal plants. When something is not active in the day, they are called nocturnal, and when they are active in the day and not active at night, they are called diurnal. So these are the kind of plants actually that they are talking about. So those are the adaptive features of these plants that we're talking about. So note, assignment to be dropped on the homework portal and all questions are to be directed to the readable section of the portal. Thank you very much. So that is all about that. So whenever you hear about adaptive feature, what is just trying to tell us is that, okay, what are the features, what are the characteristics you see in those things that makes them to be able to survive on land, especially for the terrestrial habitat, to survive on land, or if it's for plants too. The characteristics of those plants actually that makes them to survive on land, because we are talking about terrestrial, so we are talking about on land. So the next class will be looking at the adaptive features of aquatic animals and aquatic plants, and probably the arboretum. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day ahead.